welcome to Glenville State College. This is kind of our little bit of a discussion. I'm Dr. Dwight Heister, and I want everyone to kind of introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about your experience. And again, I'm Dr. Dwight Heister. I'm the Director of International Programs. I have experience working with F1 and J1 students. I've also put together multicultural programs throughout the last 15 or 20 years, so I have that kind of background experience. Let's start with Miss Chloe. She's kind of the first one on my screen.
Okay, so my name is Chloe. I'm a senior in business management major. Then this is my first year to come in Glenville State College. Then and I'm also the president of the International Student Association, which we just find in the past 2 years. Yeah.
Dr. Harden.
Okay. All right. Hello, I'm Dr. Donald Harden. I'm one of the criminal justice professors here at Glenville State College. I used to be a police officer and a corrections officer, and I'm in the middle of my third year here at Glenville State College after moving out from the western part of the United States. And a lot of my specialties in criminal justice are ethics, multiculturalism and diversity, and training officer duties as well. So nice to be here today with everyone.
Dr. Gildine.
Yes, I'm Maureen Gildine, and I'm happy to be a part of this group. I am a faculty member in the education department and also in health and human performance. And I've been a tour leader and taken students and led groups of students and all over many countries in the United States. And so I'm happy to be here to talk to you today.
Dr. Du.
Hello, I'm 112. I currently a math professor here at Glenville State College. I was also, before I come here, I was a student for maybe about 10 years. And this is my 7th year here. I teach mathematics. So I kind of being the role both as student and professors with international background. International student.
And Nikki.
Hello, my name is Miki Abe. I'm originally from Japan, and I have been here at Glenville State College for 2 years so far. I'm a transfer from New Jersey.
Well, welcome everybody. So one of the big questions is, why Glenville State? And we can all answer that from our own perspective. So anyone could jump in.
For me, Glenville is not a big place. It is a small town, but it is good for me as a student who is the first time to come in United States, because if I go to the big university, I will just totally speak Chinese with my Chinese friends. I won't speak English as much as I can speak at Glenville, because you have to speak English to communicate with other peoples. And it is a small college, so that every professors more, they have more communication with you in class or after class. If I go to the big university, I will go to a class within 100 people. Then no one will know you, especially your professors.
Well, I'll jump in and dovetail off of that, because that's one of the things that drew me here as a professor. I think it kind of fits my cultural feel for a college as well. I actually discovered Glenville State College on a trip out to West Virginia before I even became an employee here, and drove by a couple of years back and thought, this is the atmosphere that I would like to be a part of. The close-knit community, Particularly something like that smaller class size is really appealing for me as an instructor because I want to know each of my students individually. I want to be available for them. I don't want to get lost in a class of 300 students where I can't help provide the services that I'm here to provide for them individually. And it's one of the things I hear all the time because we have all the fantastic facilities you would need, but we are in a small rural area. I'll have my students say to their friends at larger colleges, are you able to contact your instructor 24/7? No, because we can. Do you see your instructor, in the gym if you're a college athlete, also when they're working out with you? No, well, we do. Does your instructor show up at fundraisers or club events or other activities that you're doing all across the campus? No, ours do here at Glenville State. And it's also a really neat, the atmosphere is kind of a neat hybrid that drew me here, that we have that small town, rural atmosphere and feel where it's not just the college, it's also the community that helps us out so much. It's a safe area, but then we are just a short day trip, field trip away from places like Washington, D.C., or Maryland, which are huge centers for our program, specifically with all the criminal justice agencies are there. We're a day trip from a place like Gettysburg, all of these other historical areas and really interesting places to go and learn and soak up a lot of the culture, not only in West Virginia or Glenville, but from America are available nearby while still keeping that really nice small town, close-knit feel.
I can speak to that question. I'm a native of West Virginia. I grew up not too far from the college, about 20 miles from here, and attended Glenville as a student, graduated, and then I moved to North Carolina for 30 years. And after retiring from North Carolina schools, I wanted to come back to West Virginia. And particularly wanted to come back to Glenville State College. Had a great experience in my undergraduate work, and a lot of the things that I've already heard. I knew my professors. They were very accessible to me, and I wanted to give back. I wanted to do that. I wanted to just be part of that again, and we just had such a great community feel when I was a student here, and I'm glad that hasn't changed a bit. And the service learning was a really big key component when I was a student here, and I still see that going on. So I'm really happy to be here, and it's the real thing. It is the real deal at Glenville State College.
And I'm a native of West Virginia as well. I'm from the southern part of West Virginia. And when I got the job at Glenville, I wanted to be really involved in everything that I could be and be as active on campus as I could be. But what has kept me here, because this is my 10th year, has been the experience interacting with the students and the opportunity to make a difference. Because I know that when I walk into my classroom and I see my students graduate, that I've made a difference in the way that they'll experience life. So for me, it's really, truly that opportunity to make a difference.
For me, go ahead.
All right, I cannot agree more with everybody else. There are many great things about GSC. For myself, I choose GSC. One of the major reasons is after when I graduated from University of Kentucky, I just feel West Virginia probably a lot like my hometown. Rural area, I know many people around. And in fact, after I come here, I find it's way better than I could think before I took the job. People here are very friendly, and pretty much it's like a big family. It's a family of only hundreds of people. Mm-hmm. And one of the things Dr. Harding mentioned, I was at University of Kentucky. I was a TA, teaching assistant, for quite a few years in mathematics classrooms. Like a calculus 1 class, often we have like 200 students there. I would say majority of students probably never talk to the professor face-to-face during the whole class. But here is a totally different story. Every professor spends a lot of hours with students. And if the student's willing to, a lot of time we even know students, their friends and their family, especially those juniors and seniors.
Absolutely. How about you, Mickey?
Okay, for me, there were two major reasons to choose Glenville State College. First one was that GSC has the women's soccer team, and I always wanted to play soccer in the NCAA league. And then it's really nice opportunity for me to play soccer in this league because I can compete with and then the second reason was that GSC has a pre-K education program, and I want to become a pre-K, preschool or kindergarten in the United States after I graduate. So it was like I was so happy when I heard it had education program, and also it was so hard for me to find school that had those two major my desires, and some school had only soccer team and then didn't have education program, and the other school had only education program but didn't have soccer program. So GSC met my desires, and then that's why I
Perfect. For those of you who've had to have visas to get into the United States, what was that experience like?
Maybe I start first, since I had my visa before the other two, I guess. I applied many colleges back in 2012. I think, if I'm right, well, usually after, I think I applied for a visa online after I received admission letter and I-20. Of course, the whole process is kind of complicated. But so I did the online application. Then I was noticed to take the face-to-face, notice the data when I supposed to go for the interview, which was at Shanghai, out of our province. So yeah, I think I went for the interview. Of course, there's a lot of things to need to be prepared before the interview. But during the interview, I still remember that day was very crowded. I guess I spent maybe 3 hours in the line. And when I talked to the interview officer, it's probably only asked a couple questions. Maybe I prepared well, or maybe sometimes just, be lucky, I guess. So as I said, prepared well, I feel I'm really a lucky person. First, as I do applications, I have a couple of friends who were in a similar situation as I was. So either when we apply for a visa or before we do the interview, we did a lot of research online and share resources with each other. Either successful or unsuccessful experience was very valuable for us. Yeah, and get the materials ready. I remember we filled in a couple of forms online, DS-160, maybe another one, DS-168. The situation might be slightly different after 18 years or 17 years. But usually it's very standardized now. So I would suggest if you apply for outside, it's probably good to know someone around and work together to reduce that pressure, especially the country, those countries that not guaranteed to have visa. I guess different countries have different situation.
Right. What about you, Mickey?
So my visa was like, I remember it was so like it took so long to get actually like get approved and then actually get visa. But I think the moment I remember was on the interview day, I was so nervous. I knew a little bit about English grammar, but the interviewer asked me in English. I was like, well, I can't like understand. So I asked them like, could you speak more slowly, please? And then I finally understood what they said. So it was very nervous. I was nervous, and then but I was glad I got a visa.
What about you, Chloe?
I remember the first things we need to get a picture first, the picture of the applicant. So then after that, we need to complete the form, maybe the DS160. Then we pay for the application fee for the visa. Then after that, you just need uh I remember you need to book the one date for the for the meeting. Then I remember they just asked me about some like why you choose United States as why you choose the university in United States. Then um, what do you think about the United States? And I remember I forget to pay pay one of the fields because I remember they have the two parts. One is for the application fee. Another one it should be the fee for the securities. I don't remember what that one it is, but I forget to pay for that one. But that person is very nice. Was very nice. Then she just tell me, okay, after this, you have to go to the bank then to pay for this fee. Then you just wait for the visas. That is all. Yeah, he
Nice.
was very nice.
And see, I took over the international program in 2002. So I took over an international program right after 9/11. And during that time, we moved to the SEMA system, which is kind of where we are now. And the process has become much more cumbersome and much more difficult to get through. And it's a lot more electronic based. So it's interesting to hear your stories about that. So one of the other questions I have is, if you were talking to an international student, what would you like to tell them about Glenville State and about West Virginia?
Hmm. For me, because I live in the flat place in China, so I never come here. The place like you have a lot of mountains here. Then so the view of West Virginia, the view of Glenville is so beautiful. If you if you go to the top of the hill, then from the top of the hill you will see the different view. Yeah.
I actually
So
love the view from the top of Mullahan in the ballroom, looking out
yes.
over
Mhm.
the
Then you
community.
can
It's
see
beautiful.
everything from the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's different for me. Yes.
I think I would tell students that um, in your classes, you're going to engage in conversation with one another and with your professor, um, much like a seminar. And you're going to be in classes with students who are respectful and students who attend class and want to be there, and students from all over the world. Um, you know, I have students in my class from Australia, from Japan, from South Africa, and from West Virginia and many other states in the United States. But that that brings a very unique perspective to our conversations, and I I just I think it's very enriching, and I I just hope you can be a part of that.
That's one of the things I always love to say is in the years that I've worked with international students, and I've worked with over 60 different countries for more than 15, 20 years, is I gained way more from my interactions with them than I think I ever gave to them. I think that I learned so much more about the world and about what it's like outside of my little small area, that I feel so much more enriched than probably they did just interacting with me.
And I didn't, for me, it didn't require a visa for me to come here, but I always like to say, I immigrated here from California by way of Oregon. And just in America, that's kind of a large cultural difference because of all the different, yes. And so it's been an interesting experience for me. And what I would probably throw in this conversation is just so open and welcoming. That everyone here, over my last 2.5 years has been so friendly, has been so welcoming, so that, no matter where you come from, it's going to be a place that really embraces you and cares about you, and people will know your first name, and people will, ask if there's anything. You're not going to get lost as a number here. You're not going to be one of, 45,000 students. A lot of those stressors, I think, would probably be relieved, because there are so many resources for folks here that genuinely care about everyone that's a part of this community and this college, that we're capable of helping, everyone on such an individual level. And I would just add to it also, as someone who likes to be a world traveler, and we're trying to do a lot of study abroad. I always like learning from other folks and from other cultures and from other nationalities. So it's just, again, part of that friendly interaction of, I'm so interested and curious who you are, and if there's anything I can teach you about how things are working in this specific area of the world. I think that really works together synergistically to create a great environment for us.
It does.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody else said. I love West Virginia nature. The air is so fresh and then the other big cities, and then also because GSC is a small community and college, the school is very small, so I can talk to everybody without hesitation. So I'm glad I came to GSC, and then I love the environment here.
As an international student before, I would strongly, I think, or I should say, one of the major mistakes a lot of international students make is we always pay attention to top 50, top 100 students in United States. United States, in fact, are leading the education system in the world. And I think we have almost 3,000 colleges or universities in the United States. And not just, many colleges are just as good as top 50, top 100 from different perspectives. Especially, I'm thinking about undergraduate students. Because if, there are some advantage of graduate schools. Those professors, maybe they do a lot of research, and they might be the top scientists. However, their focus is on research. Most of the time is focused on their research, and perhaps those graduate students. Of course, it's a good to me. Those top universities probably a better option for graduate school. And I think it's also critical for undergrad students to get attention, because we are international students. There are a lot of things we have to overcome during our first and second year. It's very nice or great to have some support from the students, college staff, or faculties, or get individual attention. And I was thinking that was one of the mistakes I make. I only pay attention. Of course, at that time I was applying for graduate school. But with my 7 years here, I definitely think, strongly think that small colleges like GSC does prepare students well towards their before their graduation, by the time when they are job market. Like I said, how do you say? Because you have a lot of chance to practice or do research, and we also prepare students very well for graduate school. Because again, we have very low ratio of professor to student, so we get a lot of attention, and professors prepare students very well based on their individual study plan, like after graduation. And as a professor, I'm in math and science department. I see some students when they come here, they don't have much math background, mostly because they never had a qualified math teacher in, say, several years before they go to college. But I see many students after 2 or 3 years, they are very competitive. And in our school, in our department, I think last 5 years, most students that have desired to go to medical school, which has a very high standard in the United States to go to medical school. As long as they are responsible and take advantage of the resources we have, as I know, the past few years, the graduation, the success rate is almost 100. And this I can, because I was also in big colleges before when I was a student. That just cannot happen in those big colleges.
Right.
One professor just cannot take care of 200 students at once. There's no way.
Right. No. And GSC really does a great job. We have multiple programs that have very high success rates. We have a very strong education program that focuses on truly training students. It's funny, I visit schools in Southern West Virginia, and they say, oh, well, I went to Glenville State. It's you either went to Glenville State or you went to Concord. Those are the only two schools in the state of West Virginia that really truly is known well for education. My department, we have a lot of real world applications. Our accounting program, our students are actually getting the opportunity to receive a job before they even graduate. Math and science has that 100% play or close to 100% place rate into medical school as long as they really apply themselves. Criminal justice is really engaged in our opportunities across working with our military, working with our police forces and those kind of things. So I think we are kind of that gem that's in Central West Virginia that people don't realize all the great things that we do. So this is a great opportunity for us to kind of tell our story. I greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to interact and kind of talk to us a little bit about what your experiences were. And for those students who are potentially looking at coming to Glenville State, these are the people that you're going to see. These are the faculty that you're going to have. This is the experience that you can have while coming to Glenville State College. And you'll walk away with the opportunity to get to know a very beautiful culture in West Virginia, get a wonderful education from a school like Glenville State College, and you're going to walk away with the opportunity to do whatever you set your mind to. So if you have any questions, again, Dr. Heister, I'm the Director of International, and I'm happy to reach out to you if you have any of those, if I can answer any of those questions.